Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. As we continue with Part 24, Chivalry, Book 6, Chivalry, from Secret Societies of All Ages, Volume 1, by Charles William Heckethorn. Book 6, Chivalry. Chivalry was more a spirit than an institution. The ceremonial was merely the public declaration that he on whom the order was conferred was worthy to exercise the powers with which it invested him. But still, the spirit was the chivalry. James's History of Chivalry. 1. Chivalry, 186. Original aim. An idea of conservation and propagandism produced the association of the San Greiil, whose members professed to be in search of the vase of truth, which once contained the blood of the Redeemer, or to leave metaphorical language to bring back the Christian Church to apostolic times to the true observance of the precepts of the gospel. At the round table, a perfect figure which admitted neither of first nor of last, sat the knights who did not attain to that rank and distinction but after many severe trials. Their degrees at first were 3, which were afterwards raised to 7, and finally, at the epoch of their presumed fusion with the Albigenses, Templars and Ghibellines, to 33. The chief grades, however, may be said to have been 1, page 2, squire 3, knight, and the 3 chief military orders of those days were the Templars, the Knights Hospitallers of St. John of Jerusalem, who afterwards were called the Knights of Rhodes, and lastly the Knights of Malta, and thirdly, the Order of Teutonic Knights, 187. Knights, the military apostles of the religion of love. This association was above all a proud family of apostles and missionaries of the religion of love, military troubadours who, under the standards of justice and right, fought against the monstrous abuses of the theocratic regime, consoled the widow, perhaps the Gnostic Church, protected the sons of the widow, the followers of Maine, and overthrew giants and dragons, inquisitors and churchmen. The powerful voice of the furious Roland, which made breaches in the granite rocks of the mountains, is the voice of that so-called heresy which found its way into Spain, thus anticipating the saying of Louis XIV, "There are no longer any Pyrenees." This may seem a startling assertion, but it is nevertheless true. Of course, I do not now speak of the chivalry of feudal times, but of that which existed even before the 11th century, that issued from the womb of Manichaeism and Catharism, and was altogether hostile to Rome. But even at that period, the papal church acted on the principle afterwards so fully carried out by the Jesuits of directing what they could not suppress, and having nothing more to fear than spiritualism, whether mystical, Platonic, or chivalric. Rome, instead of opposing its current, cunningly turned it into channels where, instead of being destructive to the papacy, it became of infinite advantage to it. 188. Tenets and Doctrines. Those who composed the romances of the Round Table and the San Greiil were well acquainted with the Gallic triads, the mysteries of the theological doctrines of the bards, and Celtic myths. These romances have their origin in the phenomena of the natural world, and the San Greiil is only a diminutive Noah's Ark. From Chaucer's Testament of Love, which seems founded on the Consolation of Philosophy by Boethius, it has been supposed that the love of chivalry was the love of woman, in its highest, noblest, and most spiritualized aspect. But the lady love of the knight in the early period of chivalry was the Virgin Sophia, or philosophy personified. The phraseology employed in the rites of initiation, the religious vows taken on that occasion, the tonsure to which the knights submitted, with many other circumstances, sufficiently indicate that the love so constantly spoken of has no reference to earthly love. This applies especially to the knights who may be called voluntary knights, and whose charter is the curious book called La Siete Partida by Alfonso IX, King of Castile and Leon. Their statutes greatly resembled those of the Templars and Hospitallers. They were more than any other a religious order, bound to very strict lives. Their clothes were of 3 colors, and, strange coincidence, analogous with those with which Dante beheld Beatrice clothed, and the 3 circles he describes towards the end of Paradise. They had 2 meals a day and drank only water, a regimen scarcely fit for a militia whose duties were not always spiritual. For besides their special duties, they were also subject to all the rules of chivalry, and bound to protect the weak against the strong, to restore peace where it had been disturbed, to serve their body, the lodge, and protect the evangelical religion. They are said to have branded their right arms in sign of their fraternity. But this is perhaps only a figure of the baptism of fire and the Spirit, one of the most essential rites of the religion of love. A green glass vase, said to be the original San Greiil, is preserved in the Cathedral of Genoa and considered so valuable that it requires a special permission from the municipality to see it. It was by authority said to be cut out of a gigantic emerald. But the ungodly French, who during the rule of the first Napoleon had carried it to Paris, chemically tested and proved it, as stated above, to be only green glass. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.